If you have ever loved someone who seemed to disappear just when things were getting real, just when the connection felt deep and meaningful, just when you thought you were finally building something worth keeping, then you already know this pain intimately. One day they are present, warm, engaged. The next day they are distant, cold, unreachable. And then, just when you have cried your last tear, just when you have started rebuilding your life without them, your phone lights up, a casual message, a memory they thought you would appreciate, a simple "Hey, how have you been?" And suddenly everything you worked so hard to release comes rushing back. This is not a coincidence. This is not random. This is a deeply predictable psychological pattern rooted in avoidant attachment, and we are going to break it down completely. We are going to talk about the 3 stages of an avoidant coming back, what actually makes them stay, and most importantly, what this means for you and your healing journey. Because here is the truth nobody tells you. Understanding why they come back is only half the equation. The other half is deciding what you want to do when they do. Before we dive into the 3 stages, we need to understand what we are actually dealing with. Avoidant attachment is not a personality flaw. It is not selfishness. It is not someone choosing to hurt you. It is a deeply ingrained survival strategy developed in childhood. When a child grows up in an environment where emotional needs are consistently dismissed, minimized, or ignored, they learn a very specific lesson. Needing people is dangerous. Vulnerability leads to rejection. Closeness leads to pain. So they adapt. They become self-sufficient. They learn to suppress their emotional needs so effectively that eventually they stop feeling them altogether, at least on the surface. But here is what is critical to understand. Avoidants do not stop wanting love. They stop believing they can have it safely. They want connection desperately, but every time connection gets close, their nervous system fires an alarm. Danger. Too close. Pull back. Protect yourself. This is why avoidants pull away at the exact moment relationships start to deepen. It is not because they do not care. It is because they care so much that it terrifies them. There are 2 primary types of avoidant attachment worth distinguishing. Dismissive avoidants genuinely believe they do not need emotional intimacy and have built an entire identity around independence and self-sufficiency. Fearful avoidants desperately want closeness, but are simultaneously terrified of it, creating a painful push-pull dynamic that confuses everyone involved, including themselves. Both types can and do come back, but they come back differently and for different reasons. The first stage of an avoidant coming back is what we call the silent hover, and if you have experienced this, you know exactly what it feels like. They are not reaching out. They are not calling. They are not sending messages. But somehow, you know they are there. They are watching your social media stories within minutes of posting. They are liking photos from 3 weeks ago at 2 a.m. They are present in your digital periphery without ever making direct contact. This is not accidental. This is the avoidance nervous system doing what it does best, gathering information while maintaining emotional safety. During the silent hover, the avoidant is doing several things simultaneously. They are regulating their own emotions around the separation. Remember, avoidants suppress feelings rather than process them. After a breakup or period of distance, they need time to let those suppressed emotions surface and settle before they can consider reconnection. They are also monitoring your emotional state from a safe distance. Are you angry? Are you desperate? Are you moving on? Are you stable? The answers to these questions determine whether reconnection feels safe or threatening. And perhaps most importantly, they are experiencing what attachment researchers call the return of longing. When the source of their anxiety, meaning you and the closeness you represent, is removed from the equation, avoidants often begin to feel the loss genuinely. The deactivating strategies that help them pull away start to lose their power, and the real feelings they suppressed begin to surface. This is the paradox of avoidant attachment in its purest form. Distance creates the safety they need to actually feel their feelings, and feeling their feelings often leads them back to you. The most powerful thing you can do during the silent hover is absolutely nothing. Continue your healing. Continue your growth. Continue building a life that is full and meaningful with or without them. Your genuine emotional independence during this stage is not a strategy. It is the most authentic and attractive thing you can offer. Stage 2 begins when the avoidant decides the emotional temperature is safe enough for contact. And when they reach out, do not expect a grand romantic gesture. Do not expect a heartfelt apology or a declaration of love. Expect something small, something casual, something that gives them maximum deniability if you respond badly. A meme that reminded them of you. A question about something completely unrelated to the relationship. A comment on something you posted. A hey, I was thinking about that restaurant we used to go to. This is not them being cold or calculated, although it can feel that way. This is their nervous system testing the emotional safety of reconnection in the least threatening way possible. They are essentially dipping one toe in the water before committing to getting in the pool. Your response during this stage matters enormously, not because you need to play games or follow rules, but because your genuine emotional state will communicate more than your words ever could. If you respond from a place of desperation, from a place of finally, I have been waiting for this, the avoidance nervous system will register that as pressure, as need, as the very thing that triggered their withdrawal in the first place, and they will likely pull back again. If you respond from a place of genuine groundedness, from a place of warmth without urgency, from a place of I am glad to hear from you, and I am also completely fine either way, you create the emotional safety that makes deeper reconnection possible. This does not mean being cold or playing hard to get. It means having done enough healing work that your response is authentic rather than reactive. During stage 2, the avoidant is looking for evidence that the relationship can be different this time, that they will not be suffocated, that they will not lose themselves, that closeness does not have to mean losing their autonomy. Your job is not to convince them of this with words. Your job is to demonstrate it through your energy, your boundaries, and your genuine sense of self. Stage 3 is where things get both hopeful and delicate. The avoidant has tested the waters. They have found them safe enough. And now they begin to move towards something that looks like recommitment. But here is what you need to understand. Avoidant recommitment does not look like anxious or secure recommitment. It does not come with declarations and certainty and grand plans for the future. It comes quietly, through consistency. They start showing up more regularly. They initiate contact more frequently. They begin sharing small vulnerabilities, things they would never have shared before. They make plans and actually follow through. They introduce you to people in their life. They stop disappearing. These are not small things. For an avoidant, these behaviors represent enormous internal work. Every act of consistency, every moment of vulnerability, every plan they make and keep is them actively fighting against their deepest survival instincts. The mistake many people make during stage 3 is pushing for more, wanting the grand gesture, wanting the explicit conversation about what this means and where it is going, wanting certainty. And while those needs are completely valid, pushing for them too hard too fast can trigger the avoidance deactivating strategies all over again. The key during stage 3 is to match their pace while maintaining your own standards. You can be warm and open without being desperate. You can be present without being consuming. You can have needs and express them clearly without making their entire emotional world about meeting those needs. This is the question everyone really wants answered. Not just why they come back, but what makes them stay. And the answer comes down to 3 fundamental things. The first is emotional sovereignty. Avoidants need to feel free. Not free from commitment, but free within it. They need to know that loving you does not mean losing themselves. That they can have their space, their independence, their solitude, without it being interpreted as rejection or used as evidence that they do not care. When an avoidant feels emotionally sovereign in a relationship, when they feel trusted to need space without being punished for it, the relationship stops feeling like a trap and starts feeling like a home. The second is subtle trust. Not the dramatic trust of grand gestures and passionate declarations, but the quiet trust of consistency. Avoidants stay when they can predict your emotional responses, when they know that bringing up a difficult topic will not result in an explosion, when they know that needing space will not result in abandonment, when they know that being imperfect will not result in rejection. This kind of trust is built slowly, through hundreds of small interactions where safety is demonstrated rather than promised. The third, and perhaps most important, is their own personal growth. An avoidant who has not done their own internal work, who has not examined their patterns, who has not developed the capacity for emotional vulnerability, will eventually repeat the same cycle regardless of how perfect you are or how safe you make them feel. The avoidants who stay are the ones who have chosen to grow, who have entered therapy, who have faced their defectiveness wound and begun to heal it, who have decided that the discomfort of vulnerability is worth the reward of genuine connection. You cannot do this work for them. You cannot love them into healing. But you can be the kind of partner who makes the work feel worth doing. Here is the most important thing to take away from everything we have covered. The question of whether your avoidant will come back, whether they will stay, whether they will finally choose you fully and completely, is actually the wrong question. The right question is, who are you becoming while you wait to find out? Because the version of you that has done the healing work, that has built genuine self-worth, that has learned to self-soothe and regulate and choose consciously, that version of you is magnetic to secure partners of all attachment styles. And here is the paradox that attachment research confirms over and over again. The moment you genuinely stop needing the avoidant to come back, the moment your peace is no longer contingent on their return, is often the exact moment they feel safe enough to do so. Your healing is not a strategy. It is not a manipulation tactic. It is the most important work you will ever do. And it is the foundation of every healthy relationship you will ever build, whether that is with this person or someone even better suited to love you the way you deserve. If you are on this journey, if you are doing this work, if you are choosing yourself even when it is painful, you are exactly where you need to be. Keep going.